Well, good morning, my dear friends and church family. It is an honor to be with you on this Wednesday morning. I hope and pray that you are doing well this morning. And this morning we're going to be taking a look for our daily devotional at a word specifically, and not just one verse this morning. We're going to be looking at the word perseverance. This morning, some of you may be going through some things. Some of you may have been going through those things for quite some time. And I just want to encourage you this morning that today, although today could be the day that you want to give up, today could be the day that you see things come to fruition. So don't give up. We're going to start out in Romans chapter 5 and verse 3, and we're going to look at what the scripture has to say. Not only so, Paul says, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. You see, we do go through things on this earth. There's no doubt about that. But going through those things, suffering for the cause of Christ, produces perseverance. And the scripture goes on to say that perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. So I want to encourage you this morning by reading you a couple stories from the Bible of some people who went through it. And let's start in Matthew, and we're going to be looking at chapter 9 and verses 20 through 22. Matthew chapter 9 and verses 20 through 22. Just then, a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak. She said to herself, "If I only touch his cloak, I will be healed." Jesus turned and saw her. I love what he calls her here. Personal, very personal. He says, "Take heart, daughter. Your faith has healed you." And the woman was healed from that moment. 12 years. 12 years she persevered. 12 years she went through this trials, and Jesus healed her. But there's people in the Bible who have persevered for longer than that. Let's take a look at John chapter 5, and we're going to be looking at verses 1 through 9. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, a pool, which is in Aramaic called Bethsaida, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here is a great number of disabled people to lie: the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he said, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me get into the pool when the water stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." And at once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and he walked. 38 years. 38 years he waited for his miracle. He persevered, and it came. Let me read you one more. We're going to take a look at John chapter 5, verses 1 through 9. It says, "As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, 'Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?' 'Neither this man nor his parents sinned,' said Jesus, 'but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world.' After saying this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. 'Go,' he told him, 'wash in the pool of Siloam.' This word means sent. So the man went and washed and came home seeing." The man went home and washed and came home seeing. These people persevered. But what I want to tell you is this. Today could be the day you want to give up. You've had enough. You're done. And I'm here to tell you, persevere, because that's what the scripture says. Persevere, because that's what we have to do as Christians. God is watching. God knows your problems, my friend. Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay the course. See you tomorrow.